Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first DIY wedding video that I'm going to be doing here. So many people asked me on previous wedding videos if I was going to be doing any DIY projects and if I would be documenting them as I did them. And originally, I won't lie, I was not going to do DIY. I didn't want to stress myself out, I didn't want to take on too much. But as time has gone on, I got the DIY bug and I am so inspired by other wedding DIY videos here on YouTube, and I decided to start thrifting and start coming up with ways that I could save myself some money. And so I'm going to be doing a series of probably 3 or 4 DIY videos for the wedding on this channel. So if you like this one, there will be more to come, hopefully. Unless you guys hate it, we won't put up another one. But today we are going to be focusing on wedding signage. Wedding signs are important. They tell your guests what to do, where to go, how they should be, I don't know. They give them important information while you can't, because you are getting married and you are enjoying your new spouse and having a good time, and you don't want people coming up to you and saying, hey, where's this? What should I do? Where should I sit? You want signs. Signs everywhere. So I started looking on Etsy about 2 months ago for signage because I wanted custom signs, and realized immediately that they were well out of my budget. I love Etsy, don't get me wrong. I have gotten so much of my stuff already on Etsy. I'm going to be doing a haul soon. I will show you guys what I've got, but I simply couldn't afford the signs that I wanted. I was looking for decently big signs that had our names on them and things, and they were going to run me about $100 a sign, and I just couldn't afford that. I couldn't put that into my budget. I couldn't justify it for something that I'm going to use once. So kudos to you guys out there that have Etsy shops and you make these gorgeous signs, because I do appreciate the work you put into them. I put a ton of work into my signs, and I get why they are as expensive as they are, but I could not spend that much personally. So if you are a budget bride and you're looking to come up with an alternative to these gorgeous signs on Etsy and you want to make it yourself, this is the tutorial for you, because I managed to make 3 of them for $40. All 3, $40. Not a piece, all of them, $40. So today we are going to be making a welcome sign, a bar menu sign, and a sign for our donuts that we are having instead of our cake. So I had so much fun with this project. I'm really excited to show you. So if you guys are interested, keep on watching. And without further ado, let's get into the tutorial.
Alright guys, this is a 2 by 4 foot piece of finished plywood that we got at Home Depot in the lumber section, and this is what we're going to be using to create our signs today. So I did this in inches. It's 24 inches tall by 48 wide, and we're going to be creating 3 signs. So 2 that are 18 by 24 and 1 that is 12 by 24. So the first thing that I did was I stained the plywood the color of my choice. This stain was called Gunstock, and we got this from Home Depot as well. It was fairly cheap, and I'm just taking a old t-shirt that I ripped up into pieces, and I'm going with the grain and staining this. Now, you absolutely should be wearing gloves. You'll notice a common theme in this that I am not wearing gloves, but I highly recommend doing it just because these are chemicals. And also you need to vent your room that you're in really well, and just make sure you're getting rid of the fumes, guys, because it's pretty strong. Here I'm just using a wet paper towel, taking off the sticker on the back. This was pretty stuck on, but by the time I stained it, it was fine. I stained the front and the back, and ended up liking how the grain was on the back better. It was a little bit darker, and I ended up using this side of it, but you're going to want to stain both sides just to make it look a little bit more finished. You can obviously use any stain of your choice. This is just the color that I picked out. Now, another thing you can do is you can sand and prime your wood before you stain it. This one was already finished, so I didn't need to sand it or anything, so just keep that in mind. You might need to prep your wood, but I found that this worked fine without me doing that. So after I did my staining, I let that dry, and then I went in and started making measurements. So I went 18 inches, and then the remainder will be that end piece, which I believe comes out to about 12. And I just took a straight edge and connected lines at the top and bottom to make one cut line. I'm using a piece of wall art here. You can use any straight edge. And then I had Brandon go in with an electric saw to cut this. If you use a handsaw, you're risking it being really splintered and uneven, so I highly recommend an electric one. And then I just went in and I sanded the edge with some light sandpaper just to get any kind of little splinters off, because you're going to be handling the sign, and anything that was like imperfectly straight I kind of sanded down a little bit. So this is an optional step that I did next, which was I created my signage digitally in Adobe Illustrator. Using rulers on the tops and sides and some guides, I measured out exactly how far down my font was going to need to be, and I did this for each of the 3 signs. I got the fonts on defont.com, and again, we're going to be freehanding them, but this is basically just how I want it to look. This is a totally optional step, but I found it to be very helpful in the next step. So if you're able to make a scale version of your sign somewhere, whether it be Illustrator or Word, this was helpful. So we're gonna get started right now on the actual production of the welcome sign. So as you see, I am looking at my measurements in Illustrator as to where they should be. That artboard is the exact same size as the sign itself. So super easy. I did it in inches and I just measured out and marked where everything needed to start line by line. And then I'm going in and I'm freehanding. Now you can absolutely use stencils, you can use a little projector and do tracing, or you can freehand this. This is totally up to you and your comfort level. For me, I was totally fine with freehanding. As you can see, I'm able to erase, I'm using pencil, and those marks don't show up once we finalize everything. So you can mess up as many times as you really need to. I'm also using a paint stirrer as a straight edge just to make sure I'm staying like nice and straight going across. And I'm actually making boxes for the correct height of each word so that I can just stay within that and I don't like go down or up accidentally, because you want this to be as perfect as possible. I would say my biggest piece of advice making these is to go slow and be very precise, because once you start painting, it's on there and you can't change it. So now I'm taking a paint pen. I got this at Walmart. I bought 2, ended up only needing 1. This is just in white, and I'm going in and I'm tracing over my pencil lines. And as you'll see, I needed to do 2 coats with this paint pen. It took a little while to get it really good and primed, but once you do, it is awesome for this. It worked so well. The tip was a fine tip and I was able to be really, really precise with it. And as you can see, I'm going over the letters multiple times and just tracing this out. So now that we are finished with the tracing of the welcome sign, we're going to move it out of the way and get started with the bar sign. We will be coming back to all of these at the end to finish them, but I just kind of marked out and did all of my lettering and painting first. So for the bar sign, it's going to be a little different. We're going to be actually painting my pets onto it using acrylic paint. And I got this idea off of signage on Etsy, and I thought it was adorable, but again, couldn't really afford those signs, so I said, okay, I'll just freehand them. I found some clip art online of pictures of animals that look kind of like my pets, and I freehanded that in. So again, if you want to maybe take Polaroids of your pets to like stick on here, or use a stencil, there are many different ways you could do this, but I just freehanded them. And if you're wondering, the reason our pets are on here is because we are actually naming our signature drinks after them, and so that's our kind of way of honoring them at the wedding. They're a huge part of our life, and so we're gonna have a drink named after Gypsy and a drink named after the 2 cats. So I just think it's so adorable. I'm going in here and I am painting with acrylic. I just got these. They were, I think, 50 cents a piece at Walmart, and I'm mixing colors. And as you can see, I've finished off kind of Gypsy here. I just looked at a picture of her and kind of freehanded it. And then I'm gonna, after this, get started on the kitties. And I took my time with this again. I started these signs so far before my wedding that I gave myself plenty of time to really think out how I wanted them and make it perfect. If you're doing a sign like this, I highly suggest giving yourself a lot of time and just really going slow with it. I took, I would say, probably about 2 hours to paint them in here. I just really wanted it to look like them and just be super duper cute. So here are the final of the 2 kitties. And then when I pan up, here is the final of Gypsy. I'm now going to go in with my paint pen. I have already written in my lettering here, and I'm just tracing it like I did with the other 2 signs. And this is the only sign today that we're going to be making that we won't finish in this tutorial because our signature drinks haven't been 100% decided, and I didn't want to put in ingredients and have them change. So just the names of the drinks and the top like title of the sign will be on here. Also, I'm sorry for any camera shake. I had an overhead rig here that I basically made out of cardboard to like suspend my phone over everything, and I noticed that there's a lot of shaking, especially when I speed this up. It's super noticeable. So I'm really sorry about that, guys. I will try to be better if I do future tutorials to make it more steady. We are now going to get started on the donut sign. I got this idea off of Pinterest. I think it is absolutely adorable. It's going to say Holy Matrimony on it. And the O in the word holy is going to be a donut. I love this idea, and obviously not an original idea, guys. Pinterest is your friend. And so this sign, like I said earlier, is a little bit smaller. It's 12 by 24 inches. As you can see, I'm using some household items just to trace out that donut and then perfecting it freehand, marking everything out. And if you're wondering, yes, we are having just donuts for our guests at the wedding, and the cake will be for Brandon and I to cut, and everyone else is gonna have the donuts. I'm very excited about this. I think it's super trendy and cool, and I'm all for trends, guys. Like, I know it's been done, but I love the idea. So now I'm just tracing over with the paint pen like I did with all of the other signs. And I mentioned this before already, but only one paint pen to do all 3 of these. So super affordable, guys. And this paint pen was awesome. It's usable on a multitude of surfaces, so I'll probably use it in future projects. And it came in multiple colors as well, and I got that at Walmart. As you'll see, I do 2 coats here over that word matrimony. You really want to get it nice and bold and standing out on the dark wood. And you can also use a darker stain if you're, worried about that. But this stain was fairly light, and I think it ended up looking great. So now we're going to move into polyurethane. You're going to use 2 coats of this while using steel wool in between to get out any bubbles or imperfections. You want to let this dry overnight, at least 1 day before doing a second coat. I just think this gives the signs a really nice finish. And again, we're not doing the bar sign yet because it's not complete. We're now going to move on to doing what the TheSorryGirls channel calls style points. I got this idea from them. I love this idea. I went to the dollar store. I got some pretty flowers in nude, blush, and white, and I'm using some wire cutters and cutting them apart. I actually found out afterward you can just pull the tops off without cutting them at all. You will have to cut baby's breath if you use that, but here I am. I'm just arranging these on here, and I'm using industrial strength glue. It's like an epoxy, and again, it smells very strong, so you're going to want to vent the room really well. place your flowers on here how you want, and you gotta let this dry overnight. I just think that this gives the signs a really nice finish. It just makes them feel a little bit more finished and pretty, and you can save money on having to have like floral arrangements sitting on top of them. Yes, they're faux flowers, but I just think they're really, really pretty. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree. I just love how they came out and the effect that they ended up giving these signs. I bought 5 strands of flowers, so it was $5 at the dollar store, and I had a bunch left over for the bar sign and future projects, so very, very affordable. Before I show you the finished product, this is just a breakdown of everything I purchased. Again, if you're going to use stencils or any other alternative methods that I mentioned during this video, you might spend a few dollars extra than I did, but with freehanding everything, I managed to keep it at just about $40 almost exactly. And I think for 3 signs, this is incredibly affordable. If you're willing to put in the time and effort and really take your time with it, these can come out absolutely gorgeous. I could not be more happy with them, and I'm really happy that I managed to stay in budget and still have the signage that I liked. And here are the finished signs.
Okay guys, that is it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys really enjoyed it and found it helpful and inspiring. Again, all of the videos that I found inspiring, a lot of them are actually from the channel TheSorryGirls. Those are going to be down below, and I highly encourage you to go and watch their stuff if you're interested. They have a ton of great DIY wedding content and do honestly a far better job than I ever will on this stuff, and they are true professionals of the DIY community. So definitely go check them out, and I'm really excited to do more DIY in the future here. So if you guys like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, what are you DIYing for your wedding? How do you feel about DIY? What did you think of my signs? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna make them? I would love to know all of it. So if you like my channel, make sure you subscribe and make sure you click that little bell so you know when I upload here to YouTube. I try to do it as frequently as possible, but this video itself took me forever, so I'm very sorry for the delay, but I hope you guys loved it, and I will see you all in my next video.